This is the kind of week where reputations get burned, narratives get rewritten, and everyone who thought they had the NFL figured out suddenly realizes how fragile those beliefs really are. Because the conversations coming out of this Week 16 breakdown aren't polite, they aren't safe, and they aren't neutral. They're blunt warnings disguised as film study. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss the part where teams are quietly being exposed. The Patriots aren't just trying to bounce back from a loss, they're fighting the idea that their control of the AFC East is slipping away right in front of everyone's eyes. The Ravens aren't just playing another primetime game. They're entering December football where physical dominance stops being a talking point and starts being a requirement. The Jaguars aren't just on a hot streak, they're daring the league to admit Trevor Lawrence has finally crossed that invisible line from promise to problem. The Broncos aren't just winning, they're stacking wins in a way that forces uncomfortable questions about who's actually elite. And Bears versus Packers isn't just another chapter in an old rivalry. It's a pressure test for young quarterbacks, defensive masterminds, and entire coaching philosophies colliding with first place on the line. What makes this dangerous is that none of these matchups hinge on flashy hype or highlight reels. They hinge on uncomfortable truths about protection, discipline, leverage, and execution. The kind of truths that don't trend until someone gets embarrassed on national television. This isn't about predictions. It's about keys to winning that double as indictments of what happens if teams don't listen. And the scary part is how calmly these analysts lay it out. Because when someone can point to the tape and say this is where the game will be decided, it's no longer debate, it's exposure. And once exposure hits in December, there's no hiding from it. That's why this Week 16 conversation exploded the way it did. Because it wasn't hype-driven optimism, it was football reality hitting hard at exactly the wrong time for teams that still think talent alone is enough. What happened here is simple on the surface but volatile underneath. ESPN broke down the keys to winning across Ravens versus Patriots, Jaguars versus Broncos, and Bears versus Packers. But what they really did was strip these teams down to their pressure points, showing exactly where games will swing and exactly who will be blamed when they do. If you care about where the season is headed, this is where it tilts. And if you want more of this kind of breakdown that doesn't insult your intelligence, make sure you subscribe, leave a like, and stay locked in, because this stretch of the season doesn't forgive casual fans. The Patriots enter Baltimore trying to reassert control after a loss that raised uncomfortable questions. And the immediate focus isn't flashy quarterback play or trick concepts, it's the offense's ability to create explosive plays and, more importantly, to sustain scoring into the second half, because slowing down late is how December losses pile up. Without their left tackle, the margin for error shrinks, and that's why the run game becomes more than balance, it becomes survival. Watching the tape, the emphasis on heavy personnel isn't accidental. It's a statement that New England knows exactly what kind of game this has to be. One running back, 3 tight ends, extra offensive linemen disguised as tight ends. This is about building walls and letting a dynamic rookie runner hit north and south with conviction. When the blocking is right, when the big bodies do their job, the result isn't just yards, it's demoralization, because once a runner like that gets into space, the defense knows it's over before the play ends. You see defenders throwing their hands up not in celebration but in resignation, because the structure failed and now speed has won. That's the real key. The Patriots don't need volume. They need precision. They need to create those moments where one mistake by the defense turns into a home run. The Ravens understand this, which is why their run defense tightening up late in the season matters so much. This is playoff mode football, where Baltimore isn't interested in bending. They want to force everything into tight windows and test whether New England can stay patient without mistakes. The chess match up front, the pulling linemen, the ceiling blocks, the backside discipline, it all points to one reality. If the Patriots can't generate explosive runs, the pressure shifts instantly onto an offense missing protection. And that's where Baltimore thrives. On the other side of the AFC picture, the conversation around passing games gets sharper, because this isn't about low-scoring slugfests anymore. There's an understanding that certain teams are going to have to throw to win. And that means working the middle of the field and the perimeter with purpose. Watching how coverage shells change post-snap, how safeties rotate, and how quarterbacks diagnose that in real time is the difference between punts and explosive plays. When the middle opens because a linebacker doesn't carry the seam, that's not luck, that's recognition. And hitting a massive tight end in stride isn't just efficient, it's a message that the defense can't hide behind pre-snap looks. Then you bring the outside receiver into the equation, isolate him on 3rd and long, and suddenly the entire coverage structure collapses because one defender can't protect the sticks and the vertical threat at the same time. That's how efficient games happen, not through chaos but through exploitation of rules defenses have to follow. Shift to Denver and the tone changes again, because now you're talking about 2 first-place teams colliding, both riding streaks that force respect whether people like it or not. Trevor Lawrence's conversation is the most revealing because it's not built on hype, it's built on execution in the moments that matter most. Red zone efficiency and money down performance are where quarterbacks earn trust, and the tape shows play design that puts defenses in conflict while demanding precision from the quarterback. Motion that steals eyes, personnel groupings that create mismatches, cut splits that manufacture traffic, all of it is meaningless if the throw isn't there, and that's why the emphasis keeps coming back to Lawrence putting the ball exactly where it needs to be. This isn't improvisation, it's rhythm, it's timing, it's understanding why a linebacker hesitating for half a second is enough. Even injuries and personnel changes don't derail the philosophy, because the system is designed to plug someone else into the same stress point and force the defense to answer again. Add in a receiver acquisition that immediately pays dividends, and suddenly the Jaguars aren't just surviving, they're dictating. Lawrence using his legs when needed doesn't show panic, it shows command, and that's why this stretch matters. Because this is when teams decide whether to trust their quarterback to close. Then there's the NFC, where history meets modern complexity in Bears versus Packers, and the conversation shifts to defense not as reaction but as manipulation. Jeff Hafley's approach is about changing pictures, about showing one thing pre-snap and delivering another post-snap, and that matters when you're facing a young quarterback whose eyes are trained to go to specific concepts. On third down, when you rotate from a look that suggests one coverage into an inverted shell, you're not just defending routes, you're attacking decision-making. Taking away the primary target and pairing it with disciplined four-man pressure forces throwaways without blitzing, and that's where the real confidence shows. The stunt work up front, the timing of the picker and the looper, pulling the center and guard just enough to free a rusher clean through the gap, that's coaching detail turning into quarterback discomfort. When you remove a versatile pass-rushing chess piece from the lineup, the math changes, and suddenly the offense has to protect more honestly, which feeds directly into how the opposing run game wants to operate. Jordan Love's role becomes critical here because protection and explosive plays are intertwined. 1-by-3 formations produced big plays before, and that history matters because defenses remember getting burned. At the same time, the Bears' run game can't be ignored, because motion that distorts run support forces defenses to declare intentions early, and that opens lanes that don't exist on static looks. This matchup becomes a battle of designers, not just players, where each call is an attempt to force the other side into a bad answer. When you zoom out, the through line across all these games is uncomfortable clarity. The keys to winning aren't secrets, they're right there on tape, and that's what makes them so dangerous. Teams know what they need to do, which means failure won't be blamed on mystery. It will be blamed on execution, preparation, and accountability. December football doesn't care about narratives built in September. It only cares about who can run, who can protect, who can disguise, and who can deliver when the defense knows what's coming. This Week 16 slate isn't just important, it's revealing, and by the time these games are over, the league will look a lot different, not because of miracles, but because the warnings were there all along, and only some teams listened.